Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of anywhere else? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They don't even read any of the other comments. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about, so I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'm turning it into something truly, truly special. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Things First, talking about none other than Brock Purdy. Did he impress in the Super Bowl? I think so. I think Brock Purdy played I wanted to say, I was about to say he played unbelievable. I think he played great. I think he did everything he could to put the 49ers in a position to win the Super Bowl. Did he play better than Patrick Mahomes? Did he play one of the best Super Bowls you've ever seen in your entire life? No, he did not. But he proved to be a true NFL quarterback. He proved that he belongs in the conversation of quarterbacks to talk about, right? Because there's other quarterbacks in the league that you just don't really talk about because it's just like, you know, we're going to talk about Sam Howell, no disrespect, but it's just like, you know, what are we going to talk about? He deserves to be in the conversations when we're talking about quarterbacks, when we compare them, when we say, what do we expect out of Brock Purdy? We expect more. We expect great things. We expect this. We expect that. We expect wins. We expect Super Bowl wins, right? No one's having a conversation about, you know, should Gardner Minshew, you know, how many Super Bowls should Gardner Minshew win, right? No one's having that conversation, but they are having that conversation about Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Brock Purdy belongs in the conversation with those guys. To me, he absolutely proved himself to be a top 10 quarterback, and in terms of mentality and resilience, he's top 5 in that regard. You know, in terms of mental game, he's proven to do things that other quarterbacks have proven unable to, like Lamar Jackson, like Dak Prescott. But he still has more to go. You know, he does. I'm not just going to sing the praises and just say he was, you know, perfect and just did everything. But with that said, he did do everything he could to win the Super Bowl. And you know what? They lost, and it wasn't on him. He wasn't able to win the Super Bowl for the 49ers like a Patrick Mahomes could do. But he also wasn't why they lost, and he put them in a position to win. And that's all you ultimately can ask for. But let's see what they have to say. Let's get to it.
Did Purdy impress you?
I thought he played well. Today would have been much harder for me had he gone out there and played like he did against the Ravens or something. Like, I thought he showed, even me who had believed in him, like he's your guy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying there aren't better quarterbacks out there, but they can win. I think they can win a Super Bowl with him. The problem is Patrick Mahomes is there, but nobody's Mahomes. Like, and look at this graphic. Purdy played, but these are the 4 playoff quarterbacks that they face. All of them are more touted than Purdy. He had the best game.
I think Josh Allen had a better game than
Well, I'll give you Josh. All right,
yeah,
right.
I mean,
statistically, because Josh ran for what, 2 touchdowns?
Yeah.
I'll give you Josh. But Tua and Lamar,
I totally agree.
He definitely played better.
And Josh Allen threw like 3 perfect dimes that were dropped where you would have increased his passer rating, would have increased his passing yards by like nearly 100, and touchdowns probably would have given him another touchdown.
Better than, and so yeah, I was impressed, and I felt like, you know what, because I'm assuming he's going to get better.
So
he's only in his 2nd year,
See,
so yeah, I think he can be their guy.
That's the assumption that I don't know if it's a fair one. So Colin brings this up a lot, and I think it's a good point. The physically limited 4-year college starters, kind of, if I'm sorry, Wilds, the Mac Jones profile, and Purdy's better. Sorry, buddy. They don't always have these giant leaps.
Another level.
And so I want to be very fair here. The Chiefs' game plan was to put the ball in his hands, and we can listen. Early in the game, he was carving them up. Later in the game, he wasn't as good, but he didn't make the killer mistake.
No, correct.
And I thought I was he played better than I thought he would by a mile.
Yeah.
And the moment didn't seem too big for him.
That was it for me.
And now, when you say he's their quarterback long term, I think that because they can't pay him this offseason, how he plays next year is going to determine that. But I'm not going to sit here and say Brock Purdy cost the Niners that game because I don't think he did. I thought he played fine given the
I'll
circumstances.
give him a B.
Yeah, it was impressive to me because when you look at the game, even in its completion, you walk away saying, did he give him a chance to win? And the answer is yes. Like,
Right.
did he cost them an opportunity to win the game? The answer would be no. He didn't cost them an opportunity. Did he miss a throw that he wished he could probably have back? The one to Debo in the end zone? Yeah, but he was getting pressured. All the things we can say that. For me, when I look at Brock Purdy, and you kind of talk about it, I said the same thing earlier today, that you would assume he's going to get better. The more I think about that, the player that he is what he is. It's not necessarily will he get better. It's does he have another gear that he can go to? That's kind of what you're alluding to. None of what he's shown us tells us that he has that gear outside of that Detroit championship game. If he starts to add the scrambling ability into his game.
Yesterday had a couple.
With the horse collar, I thought he could move. I was like, oh.
But my point is it and will it be enough to be a difference maker, because the guy that everybody's trying to take down does everything better than everybody. So for me, I'm not sure if it'll be ever enough, but he's definitely their quarterback of the future.
Coming up next.
Well, I think Greg Jennings brings up a good point about that next gear. Can he? And we saw that in the Detroit game. And so, what does it mean? And then kind of like what Nick Wright is saying about how these types of quarterbacks, they don't really get that much better because they're already physically mature. They're already physically limited in that regard, and they've already played a lot of football, so that there is no more of these extra leaps that they're going to make. I think the biggest argument against Brock Purdy, at least after watching this game technically, is that they did obviously heavily rely on Christian McCaffrey, especially in the beginning of the game. He got 30 touches. And where the 49ers started to go wrong is when they started to abandon the run a little bit. And again, Romo even pointed that out, saying, like, what are you doing? You have to run the ball more. You have to get it to Christian McCaffrey. You can't just keep dropping back. And so then the real question is like, if you needed Brock Purdy to just drop back, and just say, go at us and win that game, he kind of showed that he was unable to do that. But at the same time, he was going up against a really great defense and a really great team. So that might not be the fairest assessment. But I stand by me saying that Brock Purdy was not why they lost the game. Christian McCaffrey fumbled the ball. The punt return fumble, the missed extra point, going first on overtime rather than second, abandoning the run, which was poor play calling. There was no design runs to have Brock Purdy, rip off a run, which I would have done if I was Shanahan, like they did with Patrick Mahomes, which ended up winning the game for the Chiefs. Andy Reid did it. If it was good enough for Andy Reid, it should have been good enough for Shanahan and Purdy. So, I just think that Brock Purdy put the 49ers in a position to win. That's all you can ask for. But it's a major luxury when you can also go to your quarterback and say, go out and win us the game. And that is why people say players like a Joe Burrow is better, why Josh Allen is better, because they have the ability to say, just get on my back and I'm going to go. And they're just physically bigger and stronger. It's why at the end of the day, you have to pick LeBron James over Steph Curry, just because of physicality, because he's just so much bigger and stronger. And it just becomes unstoppable. And that is the unfortunate limitation of a Brock Purdy. Drew Brees was able to overcome it to an extent. He played really well, and obviously he's a Hall of Famer and had plenty of success, but he won one Super Bowl. He wasn't able to just consistently get there and make moves. But the physically or the superior intellectually, like the Tom Brady's and the Patrick Mahomes, they're able to consistently do it. I mean, Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, under imperfect situations with imperfect coaches are able to be competitive year after year after year after year. And same thing with Mahomes, obviously. Brock Purdy was obviously in a great scenario, right, with a great team. And they weren't able to get the job done. But like I said, I do not blame Brock Purdy. But this is one of those things where someone said, right, they refer to like the 49ers as the Avengers, right? And Brock Purdy needs the Avengers in order to succeed. And it was this time that the Avengers actually let him down by Christian McCaffrey fumbling and things of that nature. And that's the thing. He wasn't able to overcome it. He wasn't able to overcome those things. Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they have the ability to overcome that. And it's not to say that Brock Purdy can't. It's just that he didn't in this Super Bowl, And there was that one catch. We saw this one catch. I think it was in the Packers game, and I forget if it was Ayuk. I really forget. But it was this fingertip catch, a little low behind fingertip catch, which was just really fortunate they were able to catch it and go. And then in the Super Bowl was a very similar pass and throw. And he didn't catch it this time, and that's what matters. But at the same time, Brock Purdy had some unbelievable throws. Perfect throws. Beautiful, brilliant throws. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Good for you, man. So he can't be unhappy about his performance. And the 49ers can't be unhappy about his performance. He just couldn't overcome it. He just couldn't. And you either want to say that was on him, on the 49ers, mistakes themselves that he was unable to overcome, or that the Chiefs defense was just too good. I don't think it was so much that it was that. I think the Chiefs defense definitely was a big part of it, without a doubt. But at the end of the day, the 49ers could have won that game. If just one of those things didn't happen, either of the fumbles, the mixed extra point, abandoning the run, if any of those things, if just one of those things didn't happen, there's a good chance that the 49ers do win that game. But then the real question is if they ended up winning that game, who would have gotten the MVP? Probably McCaffrey. Not probably. I mean, it's a very safe bet to say that it would have been McCaffrey. The dude had 30 touches, was gassed by the end of that game. They were going to give it to Christian McCaffrey. When the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, there was no question it was Patrick Mahomes. There was no question. It wasn't, well, is it Pacheco? Is it Travis Kelce? Is it, whoever? It was Patrick Mahomes, right? It was like no doubt. Unless the 49ers won in overtime with an amazing bomb to Ayuk or something, then you give it to what's it called? To Brock Purdy. But if they were able to just get that first down, bleed the clock out, kick the field goal to win the game, the MVP would have gone to McCaffrey. And that's the difference. You want your quarterback to be the MVP. Because when your quarterback is the MVP, he can overcome any of the issues or a lot of the issues, or is at least in a position to overcome the issues that arise in a game. Whether it's an injury to Debo or Kittle, whether it's a fumble, an uncharacteristic fumble by McCaffrey, while it's a fumble on a punt return, while it's capitalizing on an interception from Patrick Mahomes. That's what the MVPs can do. And unfortunately, Purdy was not able to do it in that moment. But again, I do not put the blame on him. I put the blame on the team and Shanahan for that matter. And also just understanding who Brock Purdy is. He's a great quarterback. He's proved to be able to do a lot of things that a lot of other quarterbacks cannot do, who we consider to be great and amazing. And Brock Purdy deserves to be in that discussion. He's earned it. He absolutely has earned it. But what do you all think? Do you think Brock Purdy played well? Do you think Brock Purdy deserves to have a big payday? Do you think Brock Purdy is the reason why they lost? Please let me know in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and see you next time.